Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to our Nerd Nation stream. We're talking Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm here with my friend Ray. How you doing, Ray?
Morning, evening, hello, wherever you are.
Great stuff. And of course, cousin Cheeto. How you doing, my son?
Howdy, partner from the US of A.
Good morning to you too. Okay, so this has been a very eventful week regarding superhero stuff. The other day we had the Snyder Cut, but this is the main event, far as I'm concerned: Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So episode 1 just came out, and we just all three of us have finished watching it, and we've got some things to talk about. But I want to quickly mention overall regarding this show that one of the things I did like about it is that we got our action straight from the beginning. Yeah. Because sometimes with these shows that they layer in a story, and then you're thinking to yourself, when we're going to have some ass-kicking moments? Yeah, well, they gave us our ass-kicking moments. They fulfilled our ass-kicking moments right at the beginning of the episode, so that way we weren't urging for it during the course of this episode, and we got good character development. Now, before I continue going for a play-by-play, just a quick analysis as well from you two. Raymond, I'll start with you. Did you enjoy this first episode?
Oh, it was awesome. It gave us a real nice behind the scenes of what it's like to be an Avenger outside the time of war, just living in your own life and seeing the aftermath of the stuff they can't deal with when they're in battle, like in the major films. And yeah, it's kind of opened up a can of worms and gave us plenty of good questions for the future. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Bob?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the action-packed start with seeing a lot of Falcon action. I enjoyed seeing Bedrock the Leaper again. I'm hoping we'll see
him.
I'll hope to see him. I hope to see him again. I mean, I'm hoping that with the progression of this series, we'll start to see a couple of Captain America's foes either come together, or we'll see them peppered throughout the couple episodes. And I was very surprised by the cameo, which we'll get into as we go through the review. So. I wasn't surprised. Like I was very ecstatic to see this Avenger show up in the episode, but you have to keep watching to find out who it was if you haven't seen it.
Yep. So just so anybody knows, this is a spoiler review. I should have mentioned that a little bit earlier. I kind of given some things away, but we are going full on spoilers here. Reviews nowadays are all full of spoilers. It's very hard to talk about something without spoiling it. So one of the things I liked about this opening action scene was obviously seeing Falcon like being the main event and him doing his Falcon stuff. Not often enough do we focus on Falcon being Falcon. When we watch Iron Man, we're watching him in his own movie doing all his Iron Man shit. It's all about him. But Falcon has to share the screen all the time, so we never see him do enough of his stuff. This time it was all about him. His wings look wider than ever. It looked absolutely beautiful. Him scaling through the skies, going up and down, avoiding missiles, avoiding rockets, bits of boulder flying out and stuff, and having to deal with these wingsuit Hydra or ex-Hydra agents. It was a great opening scene. Just him being pure badass, Red Wing as well, his version of Jarvis, as far as I'm concerned. What did you think? I'll start with you, Bob, with that opening action scene, like all the moments, and just Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, Falcon being the motherfucking man.
I mean, I loved it. I mean, I've always felt that Sam Wilson was the appropriate successor to the Shield. And I mean, then keep in mind in this scene there was no Shield. He he wasn't wielding the shield. But this just proves that he can, even in action sequences and everything like that, like he can be the main man. He could. Yeah. I mean, I feel like this show probably, and I'm glad it's a show, but this show could have been a movie led by Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson, co-starring with obviously Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes. But I still feel that Sam Wilson can hold his own in any movie.
Yeah, likewise. Ray, this opening scene, the action scenes, anything that you really liked?
The action sequences looked amazing. The camera angles they used, just seeing Sam in his element. And there's this one point towards the end of the action sequence where explosions are going off around him. Suddenly he can't see what's going on, and yet a helicopter appears just in front of him. And the reaction time where he was just able to stop and you just see him like inches away from a helicopter blade.
Mhm.
It's like they really gave us some juicy moments to really get our teeth into. It was like excellent, on par with anything you're going to see with him in any other film.
What's the name of that parkour villain? Batrock? Is that how you say it?
Batrock the Leaper, but they just call him Batrock.
I just like the
Jump.
one but where they're trying to escape from Falcon and they end up on that helicopter and they think they got away from him and he's in there going, "What's up?" I love that. I love that so much. He's so badass. And one of the things I liked, and we'll come across this a little bit later, is that he likes being a superhero. You can see it. He loves it. You know, he really loves being like saving the day and stuff. And what a great scene. Regarding Batrock, it's really good to see him back. When that helicopter blew up, I'm so glad he escaped. I'm so glad he escaped.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think he should be like a big baddie, but I mean him showing up every now and then.
The top tier henchman villain for sure.
Yeah, like he should definitely show up every now and then and just, you know, I mean he's kind of should be like the Scarecrow to Batman, right? You know, he's not the Joker to Batman like you know, like Baron Zemo or the Red Skull. But he definitely is somebody that it's like he pops up and you're like, yeah, that's a Cap villain.
Yeah, for sure. And do you think we'll see any more of him in this, or was it just this like an opening action scene just to see them, like just to see Shield or whoever he's working for, you know, doing badassery, and we're just getting that, and he's dealing with this reoccurring villain, but that's all he is, and we might not see him for the rest of the show. Because I think in the trailers, all we did was see him there. I'm not sure if we saw him anywhere else. So I'd be upset if we don't see him anymore, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, yeah, it might have just been an opening sequence. I wouldn't be, since this is a TV show, like if this were a movie, I'd say he ain't showing up the rest. But since it's a show, maybe down the line he might show up and like maybe Baron Zemo will approach him for another job or something like that. Like to just throw Sam and Bucky off kilter while Baron Zemo is doing something else. You know what I mean? Like he definitely seems like a villain that would be able to distract them while Baron Zemo is up to something else.
For sure. It was very James Bond-esque as well, the way it opened as well, the opening scene. So after all that wham bam thank you ma'am action has ended, and by the way, there was something to it, by the way, before I move on from that, there was a little bit to it, because we noticed the pilot was killed, but they were trying to kidnap the other military officer. They didn't kill him, but they were kidnapping him. I couldn't really understand what for. Were you...
Maybe it has something to do with the super soldier serum. I mean, I feel like this opening sequence seems like
was that John Walker they kidnapped? Was it him? Was that John Walker, the military officer?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I've only seen it the once, but I'm trying to remember. I don't know if they mentioned his name was John Walker, but I don't know. I can look it up. Keep on going.
Okay. So after all that wham bam thank you man is over, we get back down to earth, so to speak, and we see Sam with the shield, and it's funny in the way the whole setup when he's in his room. I thought he was going to Captain America's funeral, for fuck's sake, but no, it was some sort of memorial. It wasn't funeral, because even though it felt funeral like, no one's dead. You know, Steve Rogers, that is, given this mantle, and this is what I really liked. He had the chance, by the way, Bob, and I want people to understand that he had the chance to be Captain America and he turned it down.
Well, but here's the thing, though. I understand that only because that shield means a lot to a lot. And he even said it means a lot to a lot of people. Would I have turned it over to the U.S. government? Probably not. But
I don't think he was doing that. I think he was museuming it. You know, he
well,
wasn't.
yeah.
Like, you know, I mean,
Indiana Jones in it. It belongs in a museum.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and I don't think he just didn't like. He actually, I like what he said. Like, you know, like a symbol is only as good as the person who's portraying that symbol. You know, and obviously Steve Rogers is probably the best person you could ask for. But I think Sam Wilson is doing himself a disservice if he thinks that he's not worthy of it. He's more flamboyant, without a doubt, but he's just as good natured as Steve, in my opinion. But it was good to see Rhodey also on the scene. There's your cameo. I was kind of a bit upset because I was thinking to myself, we'll probably see him in episode 6 in the War Machine armor, but no, he's there in that memorial as well, and he played his role. You know, like it was interesting to see him there, and him and Sam, sorry, Rhodey and Sam bouncing off each other, and you could tell Rhodey was like encouraging him to take on the mantle, and he didn't want it. Well, and I'm really happy, by the way, they're not doing the racism angle or anything like that. I mean, I have no problem with those particular angles, but this feels much more organic and much more natural. Of course, they're going to give it to Sam. They're not going to not give it to him because he's black. You know, Captain America himself said to him, I want you to be Captain America. He had the opportunity and he didn't take it. And I love that. It's much better. Ray?
I loved that entire sequence. With Captain America's shield being handed to the Smithsonian, the memorial ceremony, the actual place was a tribute to Captain America's life. And it also told the story of what happened throughout the entire phase 1, 2, and 3 in pictures and videos, and like a list of the people that passed away. And I felt it just paid homage to the way Black Widow came in Winter Soldier, when she pulls up in the car where Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson are there together, and she goes, anyone know where the Smithsonian is? Because I'm here to pick up a fossil. So it's like the whole thing just kind of paid homage to each other, and I loved it for that.
Yeah.
Over to you.
No, go on, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that scene was great. I'm a big fan of Don Cheadle's War Machine. I have thought that sorry, I'm trying to watch and try to figure out if it was. Wouldn't that be ironic though if it was Captain Walker is the one he saved, which then turned into U.S. agent.
Yeah.
But that's why they couldn't kill him, because they wanted him for the super soldier serum that he had.
Yeah, he had it inside his system, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, so but Don Cheadle. I mean, I'm glad he showed up. I mean, I'm kind of glad he didn't show up in the war, because like I kind of like those moments of levity between Avengers, where it's like they're not in their super suits and they're sitting there talking. Don Cheadle's in his uniform, and Sam's dressed up, and they're just like, which honestly, I feel like since Sam was a part of the Air Force, shouldn't he have been in uniform too? I just kind of thought that was odd, but maybe there's some, I don't know, maybe there's some protocol.
I know what you mean.
But yeah. I really, because if you think about it, because Sam and Rhodey seemed like they got pretty close when they were on that, like the new Avengers team after Age of Ultron for a while. They seem like
pilots, aren't they?
Yeah, they're both pilots. They seem like they got pretty close. Like, even in Civil War, you saw it, even though they were arguing back and forth, you could tell that they really had an understanding of one another and respect one another, and I feel like they don't portray, because remember who was looking for Sam when the blip was happening? Rhodey.
Yeah, it was Rhodey, just as he disappeared.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like Rhodey. Well, obviously he wasn't looking for Iron Man because he knew he wasn't there. But still, I feel like that there's subtle nods to a bond between those two characters, and I feel like that they respect each other a lot. And I feel like that if there was anyone who would try to talk some sense into Sam, if it's not Steve, I don't feel like it would be Bucky, because those two are just at arm's length at all times. And that's why this show's probably going to work so well. But I feel like Rhodey's the next logical choice. And honestly, that's why I feel like Rhodey should be one of the leaders, if not the leader of the Avengers, now, because he's the most experienced on-world Avenger. And it just, he's a good leader. So
yeah, I'm fine with him being, I still personally think it makes sense for it to be the Hulk, because Banner is a new persona now, as he's merged with the Hulk. He's much more confident, and he's also one of the original Avengers. But I'm also fine with Rhodey being the leader too. So now we're jumping in.
Hold on, before we move in.
Yeah.
Before this entire museum sequence, there was an entire scene where they laid out a new terror group, Flag Smash, where you see Sam at the table working on his little drone.
Yes.
And then the agent comes in, and then they lay out the foundation for this Flag Smash group.
I'm actually very happy you mentioned that, because we also heard that he's using Stark Tech on his wings. Did you hear that too? When he was talking to his teammate, his co-worker, when he's working on the
set. Oh yeah, and they're talking about the Flag Smashers. Yeah,
but he mentioned he also had Stark Tech in there as well, which is nice to know. good to know that Tony Stark, improved his capabilities. His wings are definitely wider, aren't they, than before? They look much wider than before. So anyway, but regarding the Flag Smashers, yeah, they kind of got introduced on that little moment, and we are going to talk about them in a bit more detail. I just want to go into Bucky now. What a great way to introduce Bucky.
It's so I loved it, every second of it.
I knew instantly that we were dealing with a flashback when I saw the silver arm, because he's not, and that arm's not vibranium, is it? The silver arm?
No, because I mean, Stark was able to blow that whole thing off with just his chest beam.
Yeah, fair enough. So we see him like doing one of his Winter Soldier jobbies of like assassinating people. Unfortunately, there's a witness, innocent person, wrong place at the wrong time, sees it all, and gets killed. And then as soon as that happens, Bucky wakes up from one of his dreams, and he's sleeping on the floor, as a lot of people with PTSD does in in military films. Sorry, military things. People who've like been captured or taken too long and shit like that, they still sleep on the floor. And we see Bucky with a shrink, and she's talking to him about certain things, and you find out, he's alone. There's nobody there for him. Steve is now retired. He can't rely on Steve all the time to save him. He understands that. But there's nothing for Bucky, and he tries to find redemption as well by befriending the father of the son he killed, and the father not even knowing this, and then putting him on a date and so on. So, but the PTSD is so much in Bucky that he just can't even think straight. Bucky and Sam don't get together in this episode, but I'm very happy they don't. There's plenty of time for them to do that. But just seeing this slice of life of Bucky, I thought was fantastic, because this is what I wanted. I wanted Bucky to go through his journey of getting better, and this is how it starts. What did you think, Bob?
I liked it. It was as I figured this first episode would be a lot of levity, like a lot. Where do we leave off with these Avengers? Now they did say. Now I thought that this show would have picked up right after. I thought this show would have picked up right after Endgame, but maybe they changed it because of the the whole switching of shows between WandaVision and Winter Soldier, because this show was supposed to come out right like this was supposed to be the first show out. But I mean, I really like these moments, and I mean, Bucky Barnes is just hilarious. I mean, the Winter Soldier talking to a shrink. I mean, come on, I'd pay money for that, it was great. I liked it.
Being friends with the father,
huh?
And befriending the father of the son he killed.
Yes and no, because it's kind of tropey.
I picked up on that immediately, by the way.
Yeah. I didn't pick up on it immediately, but as soon as somebody said something about his son tragically dying or something,
that's when I picked up on it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, that's definitely like the dad. So, it is kind of tropey, but at the same time, it was kind of sweet. So I'm in the middle on it. Like, my analytical brain says, oh, okay, sure, okay, rolls my eyes. But then like the heartwarming side of me is like, oh, that's probably what I would do too, because I'm a dummy like him. So, I don't know. But it was nice.
Right.
I loved the whole shrink session, because we're used to seeing Bucky Barnes, this indestructible fighting machine that is capable of coping in all situations. And now suddenly the idea of a shrink making notes on the paper is enough just to make him squirm, and just it forces him out in a way that we've never seen this character. We're seeing a very vulnerable Bucky Barnes. And I just loved the way they hung on that, and they gave it time to breathe. That whole sequence just kind of really gave you an insight as to how far this man's fallen, and kind of what he's had to do to protect himself. And just seeing him totally vulnerable is lovely.
I love seeing him riddled with guilt. You know, like it's not like he doesn't remember what he did. He just couldn't control himself. He remembers everything. And if anything, it was the other way around. It took him a while to remember who he was again. You know, but even though he ended up remembering who he was, he still hasn't forgotten what he did. And I love it. I cannot wait to see, and I really hope I can imagine Disney doing a happy ending with this guy, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, Bucky Barnes climbing out of the trenches and just being James Buchanan again, and I really can't wait for that. It was lovely. Unfortunately, his date, a beautiful girl as well, he kind of like stood her up. The PTSD was so much he couldn't handle it. I felt really sorry for her. And all he wanted to do was just see the father again, just to, I don't know. It was a bit much. So now we're going back to Sam, and Sam is having everyday life problems because, when he died during the blip, his sister and his nephews, they remained alive, and she was trying to run the show without him. Now, Sam, being the guy who likes to save the day, help whenever he can, he's just not used to what's happening around him because he wasn't around to make things right. Everything's gone to shit when it comes to his family business. And it was really good to see him back in his Louisiana home, mingling with his family. I will get on more about the business in a second. But just from the standpoint of him coming back home, did you guys like that? I'll start with you, Ray.
I thought it was awesome. Just to see how the children loved him. And there was just a little bit of tension between him and his sister. The whole scene was played out very well. And just the way they introduced the idea of what life was like without Anthony Mackie. But for Mackie himself, it's like 1 minute he's gone, next minute he's back, no time's passed. And he's going to get introduced to other people's trauma. I love the way the scene kind of developed and gave us that whole backstory.
Bob?
I really liked it too. This is, I'm not going to say it dragged because, I just got done talking about these moments of levity between, everybody, but, the whole thing about the boat and from what I understand,
Bubba Gump shrimp factory.
Yeah,
you mean?
Yeah, pretty much. But she was not blipped because she was there while he was gone, and
so were kids. Luckily.
Because they aged up, obviously. It's not that I didn't like the moment. It's just it's where the episode started to drag a little bit for me. And then, I knew the moment he said, "I'm going to go to the bank and you got me," I knew that it was going to blow up in his face. And the bank teller was, I don't know if we've gotten here yet, but the bank teller taking the selfie with him and everything like that. But I'm like, this is going to blow up in his face. He's going to say he can't give him the loan. When he's so cocky and confident like that, it's going to blow up in their face.
Well, he's so used to getting things done that he just this thing seems trivial for him, and he can't deal with it.
Well, and the trope of like the sister not wanting his help because obviously Sam's got some money because he works for the Air Force and obviously private contracts and all that other stuff. He's got money.
No, but he mentioned about the goodwill and stuff because that's what it means to be a hero. And
yeah, and her not taking any help or anything like it was very tropish for me. And this is probably the weakest point of the episode for me, only because it was very eye rolling and very and I'm not a part of the Southern community and all that other stuff, so I don't know. But it just felt, this might be something like with the Southern community or something like that, where they're just more stubborn. But it's like, if my relative had a lot of money and I was in really deep shit and financially, and they offered to at least help, I would at least take it. They're family. It's not like it's like Sam's just like, hey, I killed your brother. Like let's say that she wasn't related to him and he was like, if that was like somebody that like a childhood friend, but then that childhood friend died in the explosion in not Latvia, wherever they were at.
Look,
you
let
know,
me
in
just
Civil
let me
War.
just save you here, but you're going all over the fucking place.
No. Listen to me here.
Yeah.
So I could see it then, but like, I mean, it's his sister. It just makes no sense to me why she at least wouldn't take some help, even to break even and get the things moving again financially. So there, I'll leave it at that.
No, I agree with you. Like the blip is not a normal situation, and you're lucky your brother's come back. And he wants to help. He wants to help. You know what I mean? In every way possible. Now I understand that she's been doing shit on her own, but you got no fucking money, and the writer did a bad job here. Southern or not, it's just bad writing. But not bad writing, but for the sake of tension, in that sense. But yeah, I knew it was going to blow up in his face, and it's good to see, like, look, unfortunately, a lot of the time when we watch superheroes, they tend to be billionaires, people who don't, or they're so overpowered that they don't have to worry about money, like someone like Superman, for instance. He doesn't have to be a fucking reporter, and same with people and like Batman and Iron Man, billionaires. Money's never going to be an issue. So it's good to see that with a lot of people, with a lot of superheroes, like Spider-Man as well, money is an issue. It's hard to be a superhero and fucking pay the bills. And I appreciate that as somebody who struggles to pay the bills themselves. So I didn't mind any of that. But we then jump into the Flag Smashers. We get a good chance to see them. Now we have that agent who works alongside Falcon, who's gone undercover, and next everyone gets given masks and stuff, and then some person jumps down with some bags and shit, gives their bags to somebody else. That agent then tries to stop that person, gets kicked away, gets fucking kicked in the face, gets thrown on the ground and shit like that, gets fucked over. I thought he was good, paralyzed at first.
The way he fell, I was thinking the same thing.
I thought he got paralyzed. I'm glad he wasn't. I said that would be a trope. You know what I mean? And Sam's all guilty about it. So I'm glad they didn't trope that. But yeah, we got our introduction to them. And all right, that's the Flag Smashers. It seems like the leader of the Flag Smashers, I believe it's a female character. She seems to be quite strong. Well, I guess we'll figure that one out eventually.
I thought the leader, at least the one you're talking about, the one that was on the body cam, that
the mask who kicked Sam's mate.
I thought that was a guy.
No, that's definitely a girl.
Was it?
That's definitely the girl who takes her mask off earlier on. You see in the trailers and stuff. It's definitely her.
What if the man gets handed over to her later?
I thought he handed it over to her later.
Maybe. Okay. I mean, for sure.
I thought it was a guy who jumped out of the bank, threw the bags out and then jumped out and then started walking with them. He passed them off to the two other Flag Smashers, and then it might have been a girl. I don't know, but I thought it looked like a guy with long hair.
Because there's no indication there's somebody before that. This Batroc is a whole different ball game. He's not Flag Smashers. He's Hydra. He's about nationalism. So he's so anyway. Unless he's just a paid lackey, then he just basically works for the highest bidder. It all depends, Anyway, but yeah, we got a brief look at the Flag Smashers, and then Sam. Sorry, you got any more to say about Flag Smashers before I move on?
Yay, no? Nameless.
Okay. Group. And then we see Sam. He's talking to his colleague about the Flag Smashers. Then he ends up watching television, and the US government's wasting no fucking time. Yeah, they need a symbol. They need a leader. They need a new Captain America. And out comes Kurt Russell's son. You know what I mean? Living Planet's son is here. It's not Star-Lord. It's Captain America, and it's played by Wyatt Russell. The character he's playing is John Walker, and we see him, and then the episode ends. I'm like, what the fuck?
I kind of figured the way the episode was leading, I kind of figured it would end on the U.S. agent reveal. Although Captain America right now, but
we have Captain America now on this show, which is good to know. Just it ain't Steve Rogers. But we have a Captain America on this show. It'll be interesting to see more about him. Is he just a regular dude? Is he jacked up on something? Was he the dude Sam's tried to save?
I didn't see. I don't think they gave out the name. There was one name that I couldn't make out. I was kind of watching it with subtitles. a little bit ago, and they didn't say Walker, that's for sure. So it might not have been him, but it would have been a coincidence if it was that same person. But Bedrock did say in the beginning, he said, "Let's gut him here." And I don't know if so I mean, obviously they were, well, according to what he said, Bedrock
got him like maybe to extract something out of him.
Maybe. You know what I mean? And I mean, that might have been it too. So I don't know. I mean, we'll have to watch it again, and we'll, if it was him, we'll say something on it on the next review or whatever. But I feel like it would be I think it would be ironic. I think it would be the definition of ironic if Sam was saving the person that replaced him.
Now we got some little things during the course of this show, like Sam has been trying to get hold of Bucky. He's messaging him all the time. Bucky's not returning his messages and stuff. So Sam is reaching out to him. And in a way, even though they don't like each other to a degree, I think Sam is more reaching out to Bucky and is willing to be friends with Bucky. And maybe Bucky is willing to be friends with Sam. Would you agree with that?
Well,
it's just who Sam is. He's
I was about to say that seems more like Sam's MO rather.
He'll be friends with anybody. He's happy to be friends. I mean, he's a grief counselor as well. I mean, in a way, he's almost like the perfect person to deal with Bucky. To be friends with. But you do see in the trailers that he does rip on Bucky when he gets a chance. So, but that's the friendship side of him, and not the cat when he's not in counselor mode, I guess. But a great way to start the show. I'm gagging for next week already. I'm so happy. I'm really happy. This is just a good traditional Marvel show, and just what the Doctor ordered. And
I love how you say it's a good traditional Marvel show. We've had one prior to this.
Yes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's a typical piece of MCU media.
Exactly. That this feels like Civil War. This feels like when Captain America, Winter Soldier. It feels like those films. There's espionage there, there's spy shit there, there's political stuff there, there's the military stuff there. And I'm much more of a fan of this type of comic book sort of shit than all the magical, grandiose, this grounded sort of stuff where you get choreographed fight scenes and you've got real people just trying to make a difference. Falcon's got no fucking superpowers. You know what I mean? Bucky was a regular. But Bucky was jacked up with something, but he wasn't. He's not like he wanted to be what he ended up being. If he could go back in time, we would just hope that he died from that fall. So it's just good. It's just good to see like more fleshed out characters as well, and just some more like characters who would never, many years ago, who would have ever thought we would see Falcon front, as far as I'm concerned, this is more the Falcon show than Falcon and Winter Soldier. It really feels like it. I think we're going to get way more of Falcon than we will of Bucky, and I don't mind that too much.
I don't feel that way. I feel like it was a good, at least this episode, I felt like it was a good balance between Bucky and Falcon. Like there was, I mean, you could almost like, they pivoted like every other scene. Like they pivoted between Falcon, well, not scene, but like act. I don't know what you want to call it. But
I think they gave Bucky the middle part of the episode, but I think it was bookend either side by Falcon. And I don't mind that.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from that way.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind that too much to a degree, because I feel there's more of a journey with him regarding. I mean, Bucky's always going to be a variation of the Winter Soldier, not brain control, mind control, and stuff like that. But he's always just going to be somebody who will be there to help in the fight. And I don't think there's any much more than that at the moment. But you definitely see an arc with and like I said, Bucky's arc is also just becoming a sane person again, and just maybe trying to enjoy life and just keeping it normal and getting through all the guilt, while Falcon is obviously on his journey to be Captain America. And I look forward to that. He's such a fool, man. Why didn't you fucking take the shit? It was given to you, dude. You had the chance to take on the fucking mantle and you didn't take it.
I mean, we kind of knew he was going to do that. I mean, like, no.
Some people were going down the racism angle, and I was one of them at one point. I thought to myself, they're probably not going to give it to a black guy, but no, they had no problems with Sam Wilson being Captain America. He just didn't want to do it. And I love it. I love that. That for me is much better than a tropey racism thing. I have nothing against racism and all that sort of stuff. But this feels different and better. And it means that, you know what, they respect Sam. They don't give a fuck about his skin color. And I like that because that's the sort of fucking world I want to live in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And,
I mean, there are points where like that awareness to racism is okay, but this did not feel like the right point for that. This more felt like, yeah, like Sam didn't want it, so he gave it up to the museum, but then of course the U.S. government wanted to do their own thing, and they waited till Sam gave it up.
$5 trillion of vibranium fucking sitting there, man. You know what I mean? So, like, fuck me, we'll just keep it in the museum and not do shit with it. Yeah, of course they're going to use it. Never found out how he remade that shield as well, by the way. It was broken to pieces in Endgame. But okay.
I mean, he probably just went to Wakanda and had them make a new one. Steve probably did.
So, what's going to happen next week?
We're probably going to see more of the Flag Smashers. I feel like we're going to see Baron Zemo next week. Like, we haven't seen Baron Zemo yet, but I mean, we didn't see him at all in this episode.
Not at all.
No, but I feel like Baron Zemo is going to be coming in the next episode. I think Bucky
I can't wait till him and Bucky meet each other, by the way.
I was about to say that's probably going to be...
That's going to be tense, their first introduction.
Well, Sam, it's going to be like, you didn't return my calls.
No, but between Bucky and Zemo, like, they're going to, like, I think Bucky...
Oh, you mean Bucky and Zemo's...
Yeah, Bucky and Zemo. Like,
I thought you meant Sam and Bucky.
No, between Bucky and Zemo, there's going to be, like Bucky's going to be really pissed. Because he never saw Zemo that much in Civil War. He never got a chance to get his hands on him. Yes, AJ. It's how we do it, man. It's how we do it. It's actually 10:39 in the morning, my son.
Yeah, and I was supposed to get up at 4 a.m., which is normal for me. So...
Well, AJ is getting ready for bed, probably, because it's like, almost 7 in the morning. So, Ray, what do you think is going to happen next week?
Next week, it's going to be more character introduction. Zemo, that blonde woman from Winter Soldier.
Sharon Carter.
She needs to get an introduction. And then might be like some combination of events that set up maybe next week where Baron Zemo and Bucky Barnes have their meet. Maybe something along those lines.
Regarding Sharon Carter will be introduced when they need to get their fucking asses saved. It's like, oh, thank God Sharon's here. How you doing, Sharon?
And here's the other thing. I mean, there's not 9 episodes in this like WandaVision. There are 6 episodes in this one. So things are going to keep moving, and they're going to keep moving quick. But, it's not. This is more of like a mini series or like a short-term event. This isn't like a season of something. Like. So I
don't think we'll see Sharon until halfway through the season, the show. I don't think we'll see her next week. I think we'll probably see her the episode after, or even episode 4.
I think it'll either be at the end of next episode, or you're right, like sometime in the middle of episode 3.
But they need just to like freshen things up. Then they'll throw her in there. You don't want to bring everything into so soon. So every character in so soon. You bring them in a little bit later, so they have an impact during the course of the show. And I do look forward to her coming in. Obviously, Baron Zemo. Hopefully, Batroc will make a reappearance. But I don't want him to be a jokey, tropey character. He needs to get away with things, because he's not getting away with shit at the moment.
Well, I kind of hope we see like Baron Zemo with the mask on, and then we have Batroc the Leaper standing there next to him, and we get that like super villain moment where we're there together, and they're like, we're going to destroy the legacy of Captain America, and they're both standing there together, and I don't know.
Well, he needs to have a fight with either Sam or Bucky, or like a one-on-one like he did with Cap in Winter Soldier. But if he fights Sam, that'll be an even fight.
Are you talking about Batroc?
Yeah.
I guess on the plane it wasn't a one-on-one fight.
It's hard to fight on a plane when they're all shooting guns and stuff as well at you. Like if like the sort of fight he offered to Cap in Winter Soldier, he needs to have that sort of fight with either Sam or Bucky. But if he fights Sam, he might win, because Sam's not he's not a super soldier. But if he fights Bucky, he'll get his ass kicked. And it's funny in a way because Bucky, some of the trailers I've seen so far, Bucky looks like he's struggling, but he's pretty much like Steve Rogers.
Mhm.
So why is he struggling so much? When it comes to certain things, he should, like when he was fighting Steve, they were on the same wave. They were on par with each other. Now he's fighting some dickhead flag smashers and he's fucking struggling. What the hell?
Well, but I think that the flag smashers might have
super serum.
Well, remember the dude jumped out of the bank and he just landed on his feet from the third floor.
That's that one person though, we believe, who might be. That's why they're the leader, because they're almost invulnerable.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe there was more than one of them that's super powered. Maybe that on top of that truck, maybe there, because remember in the trailer, Sam did say that little girl kicked your ass, and that was that girl with the curly hair. So she's probably powered too.
That's the one I think who jumped out the building.
I don't think so. I think she was on the ground handing out masks, and then he jumped out.
Was she?
I thought, yeah.
Okay, I must have missed that.
No, because she was handing out the masks on the ground, and then she put one on, and then started handing them out, and then the guy was like, "What are we doing?" or whatever, and then the explosion happened, and then the other person threw the bags out and then jumped out himself.
Okay, fair enough.
I swear it looked like a guy. I might be wrong.
I also felt like that person was towering over everyone else around him as well.
Yeah, he was definitely tall.
Okay. I'll watch the episode again, and I'll try and keep an eye out for those things. So, episode 1 is over. Episode 2 to come. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait a fucking week. I'm gutted, but that's how it goes. Anything more to say, guys, before we wrap this shit up?
Nope. I'm just excited.
Me too. I'm excited beyond belief. Thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be talking more nerd stuff during the course of the week, not just Falcon and Winter Soldier. So keep an eye out for our stuff. I believe Young Rock will be back. So keep an eye out for my review for that if you'd like to watch the Young Rock, as well as other stuff too. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.